Greetings, everyone. My name is Amir Balir. My student number is 200422973. And today I'll be presenting my glider. I'll be starting my talk with some glider introduction, moving on to the planning phase, including pictures of my Gantt chart, engineering drawings, final prototype photographs, design decisions, and ending my talk with testing summary. You might wonder, what is a glider? A glider is a special type of aircraft that does not require propulsion system. In order for a glider to fly, it must generate lift to oppose its weight. To generate lift, gliders are supported and fly by the dynamic reaction of air against its lifting surfaces. The motion of a glider through the air also generates drag. In a powered aircraft, the thrust from the engine opposes drag, but a glider has no engine to generate thrust. With the drag unopposed, a glider quickly slows down until it can no longer generate enough lift to oppose the weight, and then it falls down to Earth. Gliders can cover large areas up to 3,000 kilometers, as long as there is wind. What makes glider unique and different compared to commercial airliners is its wing aspect ratio. Gliders have a high wing aspect ratio around 33, which means they are longer and narrower compared to conventional planes, which have wing aspect ratio of about 9.5. And now I'll be briefly taking you through my Gantt chart. I've spent more time in the concept and design phase to ensure that every decision being made for my glider components is the right one to help set my glider project up for success. In my opinion, as the wings and the tail were the toughest components to craft, I gave them extra time in the components construction phase to avoid any possible slack and to have enough time to trial and error my components design. I have given my testing phase high importance as I would only get to know the weak points in my glider by then, and I'll be able to note them down and fix them in the improving and redesigning phase. Here's my engineering drawings showing the front, top, and right side views. And here's my component drawing, which is my fuselage. I chose this one as it's the most interesting component in my glider. Here's my final prototype photograph demonstrating the fuselage, the wings, and the empennage, which consists of the vertical stabilizer and the horizontal stabilizer. In the following slide, I'll be discussing why I picked my components design, starting with my fuselage shape. My fuselage is designed to be as small, light, and smooth as possible, allowing the glider to fly through the air with little drag. I have done this by making the glider streamlined while reducing as much surface area as possible. I used 2 fuselage layers to make my glider stronger, even though this means my final prototype will be insignificantly heavier, but at least it won't break in the first throw. Moving on my wing design, my wings have high aspect ratio, which means that their span is exceptionally long compared to their width. High aspect ratio wings produce less induced drag, which is what makes them so efficient on gliders. Strength is important in gliders. Therefore, I have kept some space between the wings and the fuselage to add a balsa strip, which is perpendicular to the wings and passes through the fuselage to lock both structures together and prevent any dislocation during flight. To improve the overall aerodynamics of my glider, I added winglets to my wings. Winglets are an aerodynamic structure that improve the efficiency of the wing by making it act somewhat like it has larger wingspan without the structural penalties that come from extending the wingspan directly. The last design feature I'll be talking to you about is my tail. I picked the T-tail design as it ensures the tail plane surfaces behind the wings are out of the airflow. This secures smooth flow, resulting in high performance of aerodynamics with the lowest possible structural weight. Moving on to my testing summary, my initial prototype was only able to fly for a maximum distance of 3.5 meters. This was due to the wrong positioning of the wings and the horizontal stabilizer, which affected the center of gravity, causing less lift to be generated. The changes made could be seen in the following table. My first issue was the horizontal stabilizer being positioned far away from the empennage, and the way I fixed this was using a foam board to make a new fuselage, positioning the new horizontal stabilizer on straight under the vertical stabilizer. Moving on to my second issue, which was the wings being positioned close to the nose of the glider. And the method I used was using the new foam board I made in the first issue and placing the wings closer to the tail after finding the new center of gravity. Moving on to my final prototype. After repositioning my wings and horizontal stabilizer, my glider generated enough lift to fly for 7.3 meters. This shows that the changes had a positive impact on my glider. And here's a picture of my final prototype illustrating the old position of the wing and the horizontal stabilizer. There is always room for improvement. My glider was lighter than my expectations. It didn't generate enough lift to travel further than it did. To solve this, I must increase the weight of the glider. I could do that by adding one extra fuselage layer. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation. See you soon.